Hi, I'm Heather, and I have had the pleasure of being on Dro TV today. Thank you so much. You can find me at Heather's High Notes on Instagram, or you can visit me at Elevated Fitness Tulsa and come take a medicated cannabis fitness class. Thank you so much.
Welcome to My First Time, the show about your first time getting high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman with Dro TV. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Heather Hunter. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for coming on Dro TV today. You can find more of Heather on Instagram and Facebook. And best place is just go right to the website, Heather's High Notes, and we'll have all the links down below. So Heather, please let our audience know where you're located and a little bit about what you've got going on in the cannabis community.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Heather, and I'm located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I own Oklahoma's first cannabis-friendly fitness studio, and we are at 2606 South Sheridan Road, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Excellent. You do have a lot going on, Elevated Fitness. You're a brand ambassador, and I definitely want to learn more about Heather's High Notes, but the show is my first time, Heather. So please tell us the story of the first time you got high.
So I was 13 and in 6th grade. I had just moved to a new school and I didn't have a lot of friends. And a new friend had asked me to stay the night with her. And she had big brothers and sisters, and her mom actually, was gone and working. So we had quite a bit of freedom, and we went out to this field. Of course, it's Oklahoma, so everything you do when you're a teenager is in a field. Sure. And we're sitting in the back of a truck, and somebody lights a joint. And I can remember being like, oh, I've never used cannabis before. I had drank a little and smoked cigarettes, but I'd never used cannabis. And they talked me into it, and I agreed. And we spent the whole night consuming cannabis, the whole night getting high. We walked all around town. I'm from a very small town, Sperry, Oklahoma. And so we walked around town all night. And I can remember we didn't go to bed until like 4 or 5 in the morning. Right before her mom came home from work, we got home, and I can remember passing out and having the craziest dreams, but the best sleep I had ever had in my life. Wow. And cool. that was the beginning for me. I can remember, using cannabis regularly after that, but I used cannabis instead of drinking at that age. And that's what I preferred.
Cool. Do you remember any of those dreams?
I remember, yes, I remember one very distinctly, that I was flying on a Pegasus, and I can remember being so excited when I woke up because I'm very much into sci-fi and fantasy, and so it was like a dream come true, just to get to dream about riding on a Pegasus, flying through the sky. It was a wonderful dream.
Very cool. So you consumed the whole night, you said? So this was, multiple joints, blunts. Was it joints? That's what you're smoking?
Blunts, actually. Blunts. Multiple blunts throughout the night. All different, at that time, cannabis was not legal. And so you didn't know what you were consuming. You just hit it. You took it and you hit it. And I can remember giggling uncontrollably, being so joyful, and just cutting up with my friends, having a good time. It was a really great experience.
Awesome. So now we fast forward to today. Let's talk a little bit about Heather's High Notes. I was checking the website out. Tell us a little more about that.
Heather's High Notes was the beginning of sharing my cannabis journey and how cannabis has helped me, and providing a resource for patients to see everyday life. You can still be, kind of breaking the stigma around the lazy stoner, because I've never been that type of stoner. I've always been the one that's like, let's get high and go grocery shopping. Let's get high and go work out. Let's get high and okay, I'm going to do this before I start my day for work. And so I wanted to be able to show that in a space that was accepting and could be educational as well as fun. And so I created Heather's High Notes, and it's been a fantastic platform to be able to network and connect with other people within the industry. It's also provided a centralized location for patients to reach out to me when they need help. I worked in the medical field for 10 years and before I came over into the cannabis industry, and I work in sales. I also am Cannacian certified, and I help patients find a regimen that works for them. And it's always with the basis of CBD as a vitamin. That's how patients should be taking it, with an endocannabinoid system. And Heather's High Notes has really given me that platform to connect to patients and provide that information.
Awesome. What did you do in the medical field?
I started in occupational health, drug screens, breath alcohol testing, physicals, wellness events, blood draw type events. And then I moved over into Neuroscience Institute, and pain management is where I ended. And that's where I specialized. I'm also a 16-year recovered methamphetamine and opiate addict. And while in pain management, I realized how much it meant to me to be able to provide another option for patients other than opiates, whether that be a diet or food changes to prevent inflammation and pain, or incorporating CBD and cannabis products, full spectrum cannabis products to reach their needs. And I saw a lot of addiction within the pain management industry, and that's kind of what took me out of the medical field. The Western medicine wants to just shove prescriptions down patients' throats, and I can't be a part of that. So
Yeah.
I decided to leave and find a better way.
Yeah, good for you. My girl's a nurse. She's been a nurse for like almost 15 years or something, and now she's doing IV infusions and more of spa treatments type stuff. So she's interested in cannabis. She's not a user really at all. So she's exploring, some ways where she can get in, because she's the same way. She used to work in an ER, and then she used to work for a vaccine company doing clinical trials.
Oh yeah.
So she's well endured with the Western medicine, and we go to a holistic nutritionist, and so yeah, it's pretty bad that the solution for everything is a pill. That's the
A
treatment.
pill.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Just numb it away, cover up the symptoms. Don't actually treat it.
right.
Has been the way that they do things in Western medicine.
Yeah. One thing we like about the holistic nutritionist we go to is she finds like what I mean, we know what most of the problem is. It's nutrition, what we're eating and what we're doing. But she, finds the problems and figures out way to, supplement them for a period of time. You shouldn't be taking a
Yes,
pill your entire life.
exactly.
It should be to fix something and get off of it and move on. So
Temporary. Yes.
yeah, awesome. So how did elevated fitness come about?
Elevated fitness came about. So I was born in California and I was raised here in Oklahoma, and my mom's family is in California. And when I was 15, I got to visit California, and my cousin took me to a yoga class, and we were able to medicate inside the yoga class. And
Cool.
I was mind blown by this concept. And it stuck with me for years. And then I guess 9 years later, I had just had my daughter. I had gained 150 pounds while pregnant. So I was up to over 300 pounds at that point. And I'm
Wow.
still using cannabis regularly. And I hated working out. If I was running, you should be running, because someone was chasing me. And I found Zumba, and I thought, I don't really like to work out, but I love to dance. And so I can stick with this. And with Zumba, I lost 150 pounds. I found, healing and wellness in my body again. But I was using cannabis. I would leave work and medicate in my car on the way, and then spray myself down with all of the perfumes, and then go inside and just like, man, I really hope they can't tell that I'm high right now. And so there was a lot of shame factor because of the stigma of cannabis. And so 4 years ago, after, all this time I'm doing Zumba. So in 6 years later, 4 years ago, I became a Zumba instructor. I became licensed in Zumba. And my partner, who was my instructor at the time, and I would medicate together. And I asked her when cannabis became legal here in Oklahoma, I said, what do you think about opening a fitness studio co-op where people can come in and medicate openly and not feel shame around it, and maybe understand the benefits of combining your cannabis in a educated way so that you can reach your goals, not only your fitness and exercise goals, but just your overall health and well-being. And for me, it had become even more of a mental health thing, both working out and using cannabis. I have complex PTSD, anxiety, and depression I've had since I was 17. And all of the medications, none of them worked as well as cannabis did. And so we found a location that allowed us to medicate inside. We opened 3 years ago, just a few months before COVID, before the quarantine for COVID. And we have a lounge in the back. Patients who have their cards can come in and take a class. There's no memberships here. They pay for each class as they go. They range between $5 and $7. And there's a medical lounge in the back where they can come and light up, use their Puffcos, use their concentrate, eat their edibles, and then come out and move their bodies in a safe space.
Excellent. What kind of fitness classes are available?
So we offer Zumba. I teach dance fitness. We also offer cardio kickboxing. We have a burlesque series. And then we also have yoga.
Sweet. Awesome. The few times I ever medicated and went to the gym, it wasn't the best experience. So I think I was always, I'm going to smoke a big fat joint and try and go work out, as opposed to maybe just taking a couple hits. But
right.
Sometimes I'm too in my head.
Right.
Now, but nonetheless, that's cool. So you had mentioned you were in an area of Tulsa where it's like a kind of a cannabis community, multiple shops around.
Yes, the Flower District here in Tulsa. The whole district is cannabis friendly. We have a dispensary down at one end. We have a nutrition shop and a restaurant at the other. We also have a head shop with glass and wraps and all the accessories that you need. We have a record store and a barber here in the district, and then a full event center where they have cannabis bingo nights, cannabis bunko. We have a cannabis and costumes party coming up here at Elevated Fitness on October 21st. And so we do host events as well, just for people who want to have a cannabis friendly event. And so it's a fantastic location.
That's awesome. Yeah, the cannabis community, it's ever growing, and it seems like a great community of people that there's not a ton of, prejudices and people, some of it can be cliquey and high schooly, but nonetheless, it's not, these huge polarities. So,
yes.
And it seems like from a lot of the people we've interviewed in Oklahoma, that they have a really, really great community and a scene. So it sounds like where you are, you're in a great location. That's awesome.
Yes, you've interviewed several of my closest friends actually within this community. And so I will say Tulsa and Oklahoma is big on the network. We rely heavily on supporting local small businesses. We rely heavily on giving referrals and connecting with our network, as well as providing education and resources for patients.
Great. That's awesome.
Hey everybody, I want to quickly mention Food Forest Abundance. Food Forest Abundance is a great way to create your own self-sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables, you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode.
Well, education is huge, especially when it comes to this plant. So we appreciate
is.
people like yourself, which I guess we can lead into Nature's Key Edibles. You're part of their Bud Tender University.
Yeah, so I am the Tulsa brand ambassador for Nature's Key Edibles, and I give education with their Bud Tender University. So every dispensary that carries our products receives a free Bud Tender University, where we talk about modality, we talk about keywords to listen to for patients. We talk about how bud tenders can effectively answer questions both about our products and how our products are different than others on the market.
Excellent. And familiarize me with Nature's Key Edibles. What
Nature's Key Edibles is a legacy brand. They've been in Oklahoma since the very beginning, one of the first processors to receive their license. They offer a sublingual edible gummy. And what makes that so much better or more effective for patients is that when you use the sublingual uptake, it means that all of the medication goes directly to your bloodstream from the mucous membranes of the mouth. And so, for example, when a patient takes a 25 milligram edible and they just chew it up and they swallow it, the bioavailability is not there for all of that medication to go directly into the bloodstream. They're actually only getting 18 to 20 milligrams. But by doing a sublingual uptake, if they take 25 milligrams, all 25 milligrams are going directly to the bloodstream and bypassing the gut completely.
Interesting.
These gummies also contain only 1 gram of sugar, and so they're ideal for patients that really need to monitor their sugar intake. They have a full medical line that starts with a basis of 25 milligrams of CBD and then adds in 1 milligram THC or 5 milligrams THC or 10 milligrams of THC, and then up to a 1-to-1, 25 to 25. And that has provided a great basis for patients to be able to step their way up safely and not necessarily have a bad experience with edibles. We help a lot of patients who maybe started edibles with a really high dose and it was not a good experience. And so our medical line is fantastic for both pediatric and elderly patients, as well as patients who are trying to use an edible for specific needs.
That's great. Yeah, we interview a lot of people that are new to cannabis as far as the educational and medicinal aspects of it. And my girl, as I mentioned, she's a nurse, but she's trying to figure out what CBG and HHC and 1-to-1 and she's not in a position where she probably would get tested anytime soon, but because of her license and everything, she's certainly concerned with trying to medicate.
Of course. That was my biggest fear working in the medical field and medicating for so long, especially because in the beginning of my medical career, I worked for a drug testing company. And so not only am I worried about getting drug tested myself, but I'm giving other people drug tests.
Right.
And so that's a valid concern. And it's unfortunate that you have to be so afraid to use a natural medication that you could lose your job because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, she's sticking people with needles. Maybe I don't need her stoned to be doing that. But outside of work, what she does on her own time, shouldn't impede any of that. But
absolutely,
that's the world we're living in today, which is why, we're hoping to, create some kind of niche or business within the industry where, like yourself, the elevated fitness, more entrepreneurial, not relying on, like you said, some of these big corporations where, they control everything from the top to the bottom. So
exactly. Exactly. And it's important for patients to understand too, that you don't have to be high in order to be medicated.
Right.
And those ratio type of products where they provide a basis of CBD and then a really low dosage of THC is how you still manage your symptoms throughout the day without having a head change. And I would absolutely encourage your girlfriend, your partner to get Cannacian certified. That is the best way to really understand the benefits of the different cannabinoids, how they can be used effectively, and how to effectively dose patients. Many times patients are saying, they say things like, you know, I take 25 milligrams of CBD, but I haven't noticed a difference. And I compare CBD to a vitamin. When you take your multivitamin, you don't necessarily notice a difference. Maybe you notice that you just feel better, a little bit better. You know, your metabolism is running better. Your body doesn't hurt as much. It's a little easier to get up in the morning. CBD is very similar in that way, and it's based off your weight. And so many times patients are only taking a drop in the bucket to what they actually need to be taking because the dosage is based off weight, the same way every other medication is.
Right. Yeah, that's important. I don't think enough people understand body weight and consumption levels. So you're a Cannacian. How does somebody become a Cannacian?
So I became Cannacian certified through Courtney Hudson, who you have also interviewed. She does offer the Cannacian training through her website, and it's an online training, and you can pay it. There's 3 levels, Cannacians 1, 2, and 3, and each one delves a little deeper into the cannabis plant and practical uses and guiding patients through the use of the cannabis plant.
Excellent. Well, her episode, I believe, just dropped. So if you're watching this now, you can go back and figure out when we recorded this. But nonetheless, I'll have to go back and look at that and have my girl check it out. So thanks for that info, because I know it's something she's interested in. We've been using CBD cream forever, and we left Massachusetts to come here to Orlando, and everything was basically fully legal there, and now it's still medicinal here. It's kind of decriminalized, but the stigma is a different thing. I mean, it could be 100% legal and there's still the stigma. So she's kind of coming around to that part of it as well, because she's not as bold as me. I'll walk down the street smoking a joint. I don't care.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you smoke a cigarette here? Okay, then I can smoke my weed.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So awesome. Well, Heather, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Definitely really like everything that's going on in Oklahoma. Everyone we've spoken to has been amazing. They're sharing some great stories. So
awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. Let everybody know where they can find more of you.
You got it. You can find me at Heather's High Notes or Elevated Fitness Tulsa on both Instagram and Facebook.
Excellent. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what you need to do. You need to go down there and smash the like button for Heather and leave a comment as well. What you thought of her story. Elevated Fitness. I love the idea. I love the concept. So also you got to make sure you subscribe to Dro TV here on YouTube, because you would miss great guests and interviews like this one if you don't. So make sure you subscribe. And that's it for today. What did you have packed in your bowl there? What are you smoking on?
I'm smoking on some Tropicana cookies this morning. It's one of my top 5 sativa leaning strains. Has a lot of limonene terpenes in it, and that just really makes me feel uplifted and ready for the day.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, that's it for today. As always, smoke them if you got them. What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, smoke them if you got them.